Alright, what's going on, guys? The Black Ops 7 beta is coming to a close. It's been out for almost a week now. We got a little bit of time left. I believe it ends on Thursday morning. They could extend it, you never know. I've pretty much played it every single day that it's been out. I've probably played at least like 40 to 50 hours at this point, and we still got a little bit of time left, so I'm thinking by the time the beta is over, I'm probably gonna have like a solid 60 to 70 plus hours on it. Pretty good amount of time, I think. Enough for me to do an actual review. So this year, instead of 2 separate weekends, we pretty much just got a week straight. I don't really know if that's a better or worse way of doing things. I think it's fine either way. The real game's gonna come out on November 14th, so a month from now basically, just a little bit longer. How many changes are they gonna make from the beta up until the actual release of the game? I don't really know. Usually at the end of the beta, they put out like a long post kind of detailing some of that. They'll say like, yeah, we're going to change these things and then we're going to be thinking about changing these or whatever. And then when the real game comes out, we'll see what they actually do, because we have been catfished before. You know, they'll do the beta, they'll change things in the beta. They'll say they're going to change things for the real game, and then the real game comes out and it turns out they completely lied about some stuff. So I wouldn't necessarily think too much about it just now. I would wait until the actual game comes out so you can see exactly what they did and did not do. So I'm going to just start with like some general gameplay stuff, and then we're going to kind of break it down into more of the specifics. So I don't think this is the worst game we've had in the last like 5 to 10 years. Actually, I would say basically starting with Modern Warfare 2019, that kind of started a new era of COD. You know, we've had like different eras of COD. I think with MW 2019, with the Warzone and the PC crossplay, and then the doors, the tac sprint, they added a lot of stuff that has kind of changed the style of COD over the last 6 years. Since that era has begun, the last 6 years, this is for sure not going to be the worst game that we've gotten. I feel pretty confident in saying that, but I'm also not sure if it's going to be the best game that we've gotten. I think it's somewhere in the middle. It has some potential to maybe be higher, maybe some potential to be lower. I also think there's one very key factor that I guess I wasn't really expecting, and I don't think anyone was expecting this to happen, but we have this whole skill-based matchmaking situation where they're kind of taking it away, I guess you could say. We'll get to that later in the video. I have a lot to say about that, but that is actually a very important factor that I wasn't really expecting to be talking about coming into this game, but we will talk about that later because I think that's very important. But just some general gameplay thoughts, right? I think this game is as close to jetpacks as you can get without actually getting jetpacks. You're not going to really see anything too crazy in my gameplay because I'm old, you know, like my hands literally hurt when I play for too long. I'm not trolling when I say that. But let me just put up a quick little clip of Neptune, just so you can kind of see the limits that you can push the movement to in this game. Obviously, this is a professional Call of Duty player's POV, probably like a top 10, 15 player in the world. So not many people are going to replicate this POV. The majority of people, even professional players, don't look like this when they play the game. But I just kind of want to show people what's possible. And when you see someone playing like this is why I say, like, I mean, it's almost like having jetpacks, you know, not quite, but kind of is, you know. So the super cracked playstyle is available for those that can do it or want to try to do it, and you really can shit on people in this game, right? It doesn't even matter if you're insane at the game. If you're a pro player, I promise you this year in competitive, all the pro players, everyone's going to be getting shit on like a lot, because the movement is just so good in this game that you can just hit some crazy shit, and even a good player is going to get shit on if you hit them with it, you know what I mean? So I feel like we're going to see a lot of crazy clips in this game with the movement where people just hit something crazy with the cameras and everything and just destroy you, and there's nothing you can do. It doesn't even mean you're shit. It's just, it is what it is with this game, you know? I think there's definitely going to be a very large skill gap with the movement in this game. Now, that aside, I do actually like the game visually. There are a lot of CODs where it just looks dead and everything's like gray. I hate it when they do that. This game does seem to have some colors. It does have like a Black Ops series color scheme and vibe to it, like just based on how they did everything. I like that aspect of it. I do think there is a bit of an issue with the time to kill. They have talked about it already, so it is something they're thinking about, but the time to kill in this game is pretty fast, and based on what they already said, I think what they're going to be doing is they're going to be adjusting aka nerfing a lot of the weapons rather than actually changing the time to kill. They already nerfed a couple guns immediately after the beta started, so I wouldn't be too surprised if in the real game the time to kill maybe feels a little bit slower, like not like a drastic difference or anything, but maybe just a tad slower, especially on some of the more OP guns in this game. But overall, I would say we have a pretty good foundation leading into the game based on the limited experience that we had in this beta. There's definitely a lot of stuff that they can build on and hopefully will be better in the real game. I don't think you can say the game is ass. You know, I think it certainly shouldn't be ass unless we just get completely blindsided by the real game. It definitely has some potential, but that being said, that's kind of my overall thoughts on the game. I want to kind of break down a couple more of the specific things, give you some in-depth stuff here. I think we'll start with the most important topic. I think this is the one most people care about, right? Skill-based matchmaking. So if you weren't aware, in this beta, they have added a playlist that has greatly reduced SBMM, and this has created a lot of, I wouldn't say controversy, but a lot of discourse in the community, and a lot of people have a lot of different things to say about it. So I want to kind of set the record straight about all of this, because a lot of like misinformation or just like people trolling, or I don't know if they're stupid, or I don't really know what's going on, but there's a lot of like wrong things being said. So I want to kind of clear everything up here, right? So first of all, it is not a completely 0% no skill-based matchmaking playlist. They never said it was. Their direct quote from their Twitter is they have created a playlist where skill is minimally considered. It doesn't say it's not considered at all. But that being said, you can for sure notice a difference in this playlist. I don't know what gameplays I'm going to end up using for this video or how long this video is going to end up being. I'm going to for sure have to use multiple gameplays, but you know, I have some nukes, I have some 100 pluses all in the open playlist, and you'll be able to see the caliber of players I'm playing against and kind of get a judge of like how strong the skill-based matchmaking is. Before we even address the skill aspect of this playlist, there's a couple other factors about this playlist that need to be talked about. Number one, this is something everyone should be able to agree on and experience, is the queue time. You will notice when you queue up this playlist, you'll get a game in like 5 to 10 seconds, you're immediately thrown in a lobby. It's a noticeably faster queue time. If you're in a party, maybe it could take a little bit longer. Like, it's a very noticeably quicker queue time, and that's because they aren't filtering all the players and trying to match you up with the correct skill or whatever, you know what I mean? They're just throwing you in with like a fairly loose skill-based matchmaking parameters, but really focusing on like connection and other stuff. I went and actually looked at all my recordings just to double check and make sure I'm not crazy. I haven't played in a single lobby in this playlist where I'm over like 25 ping. Almost all of my matches are like 5 to like 15, and then the highest ping I've gotten in these lobbies is 25. They have never once put me on a West Coast server or a East Coast server, because I know immediately, because I'll be on like 35 to like 50 ping, especially if it's like the Seattle server. I can go like above 50 ping on that server. I have never got that server in this playlist because they actually prioritize connection. They actually stated that that's what they're doing. So that tells us a couple things, right? Because I believe they did try to claim like last year or the year before when they released like that little research paper about skill-based matchmaking, they tried to still claim that like ping and location was still very highly considered, but this beta has proven that that's not the case, because there is no reason I should ever play on 50 ping, because clearly I don't have to, because every single lobby I play on, I don't know exactly what servers I'm playing on, but I get the Dallas server a lot, Chicago server, I think there's a St. Louis server, Denver server. I'm pretty sure those are all the servers I'm getting, and those are all fairly close to me. There's basically no reason I should ever play on 50 ping. That's what this has proven to me by them releasing this playlist. So you could definitely tell right off the bat with the queue times and the ping that something is different about this playlist. Once you actually get into the match and you look at the lobby, first of all, I would like to say, you can tell a lot of the times just by looking at the lobby whether or not it's going to be a sweaty lobby or not. I haven't ran into like any streamers or YouTubers or anything in this playlist or pro players. When I was playing the first 2 days on the normal playlist, I'm constantly getting matched up against other YouTubers, pros, streamers, all that. I haven't ran into any on this playlist. But I want to explain this playlist, right? Because there seems to be like maybe some sort of confusion or disconnect about what to expect. I think a lot of people were expecting to see this like reduced skill-based matchmaking playlist, and I think they were thinking they could just load into this playlist and it's just you and 11 other bots in the lobby, and you can just go 50-0 and just get a nuke every game and shit on everybody. And when that wasn't the case, they're like, oh, this is stupid. This isn't no skill-based, you know what I mean? They're like very confused. And that's just not the case, right? This playlist kind of reminds me of how Call of Duty lobbies used to be, how they're supposed to be. It's definitely not the exact same, but it's similar, all right? So what I want to do is I want everyone to just, gather around and let a 15-year Call of Duty veteran explain to you about the good old days of Call of Duty that maybe some of you have never got to experience. Now that I think about it, like, if you're like, I don't know, 16 years old or something, you probably never actually got to experience Call of Duty without skill-based matchmaking. Like, you don't even know what that feels like. So let me go ahead and tell you a little story about how shit used to be. So back in the day, you would search up a game of Call of Duty. We're talking about in like the Black Ops 1 type of days, like way back in the day, right? So you would search up a game of Call of Duty and you would look at the lobby, and maybe it's you and it's a bunch of bots, and you get in the lobby and you get all your kill streaks, you drop 100 kills, you drop a nuke, whatever, right? You shit on them. And then here's the crazy part about this lobby. After the match ended, the lobby actually didn't break apart and kick you back to the main menu to find another match. You got to sit in that lobby with those noobs that you just destroyed and play them again. Of course, most of the time they back out, but every once in a while, like maybe 10% of the time, you'd find some noobs that just like don't give a fuck about COD, like they're just trying to like have fun, or maybe they're fucking just brain dead, I don't know. But they would just sit in your lobby and you would just farm these kids for like back to back games, and then finally they'd be like, okay, we gotta get out of here, we don't want to play this, right? Next thing you know, a full 6-man of sweats joins your lobby, right? And maybe you're in the lobby with your 6-man party of your friends as well, and you're all sweats. Now what's gonna happen is your 6 versus their 6 in the pregame. You got 60 seconds. Y'all are gonna be sitting there talking shit to each other about, who's gonna be who and all that. Then you play the 6v6 versus sweats, and you get a totally different experience from the noobs you were just shitting on. And maybe you win the game. Post-game lobby, now it's your opportunity to talk shit to them about how they suck and all that. And you beat them, maybe they want to stay for a rematch, you run it back, maybe you beat them again, whatever. Then they leave. So now those tryhards are gone. Now some new people start filling up into the lobby, right? This time it's like 3-4 noobs, and then a couple like sweats are in there. You load up, you start the game, you're playing, you're farming the noobs, but then maybe a sweat kills you one off your kill streak. Then you're farming the noobs again. This time you actually get your kill streaks, right? You call in your kill streaks. The 2 sweat kids in the lobby, they leave. 2 more noobs join. Now you're farming 6 noobs again. You know what I mean? Basically, the point I'm trying to make is every experience that you used to get on COD used to be unique and organic, and it wasn't just skill-based matchmaking forcing you to just play 6 sweats non-fucking stop, and just the game's trying to force you to win a game, lose a game, and be even, and they're trying to force you to like kill and die and have a 1 KD. Like, that you just got to have your own unique experience in every lobby, and it was natural. And sometimes you played good people, sometimes you play bad people. The majority of the time you play a mixture of good and bad people. And that's what this playlist feels like to me. I'm not saying it's the exact same as it used to be, but it's pretty similar. It's kind of similar, and I'm really having a good time with it. And I think it's really saving COD for a lot of the good players. Because basically, since skill-based matchmaking came out, I haven't really played pubs that much. Like, I play it in the beginning of the year when it's fresh, and maybe I'm getting my camos and I'm enjoying the new game or whatever. But pretty much for like the last like 5 years, all I've played is rank play. And that has its own issues, of course, with the hackers and everything. But like, I don't know, I kind of just lost the appeal of pubs when like I'm basically playing ranked play in pubs, but for no reason. And it's just not even fun. You know what I mean? So like, all I've played for like the last like few years is like ranked play only. I don't even really play too much pubs. But with this new playlist, like, I'm actually like enjoying pubs again. I'm having a great time, and I really think it's saving the game for a lot of good players. Now, there is one final note that I gotta say about this playlist. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but somebody gotta tell these people, man, okay? So if you load up the open mosh pit playlist, every lobby you're in, you're like, damn, man, this is super sweaty, everyone here is so good, man, this is no different from regular skill-based matchmaking. Why is everyone so good? The little SpongeBob meme when he's like pointing at me, he's like, how how do we tell them? That's basically you. You know what I mean? Like, how the fuck do we tell you? You know, I'm pretty sure I show the scoreboards in the end of the game on a lot of these gameplays that I'm going to be posting or whatever, and you can kind of see on the scoreboard that there's a mix of like bots and sweats in every lobby, and you know, you can see like some people are going positive, some people are going way negative. Like it's just a mixture, right? So if you load into the game and you feel that everyone is a sweat, I got news for you, man. Like, how the fuck do we tell them? Your ass. We gotta keep it real, man. Like, if you're in the open playlist and there's nobody in the lobby worse than you, well, that just means that you suck. I mean, I don't know, like, we gotta just, like, be real about it, you know what I mean? So, anyone out here trying to claim that the open playlist is full of sweat still and they can't find any good lobbies, it's kind of like, you just kind of telling on yourself, honestly, and, like, you should probably just keep that to yourself if that's your experience. So, anyways, the open playlist is amazing. The only question now is whether or not they are going to keep this playlist for the actual game. I don't know, man. I really hope they do. I think they have to, right? They keep saying they're looking at the data and they're doing some testing and they're running numbers or whatever. I don't know what they're going to decide, but I think if they don't put an open playlist like this in the actual game, they are going to face a lot of backlash from the community, like, because nobody thought they would ever consider removing skill-based matchmaking. So now that they kind of open this door, they can't shut the door, you know what I mean? Like, this is now like the new thing, you know what I mean? You have shown people what the world is like without skill-based matchmaking. You can't take it away now or everyone's just going to be really pissed off. So I think they will have a playlist like this in the game. If we're being completely honest, it shouldn't be a playlist. It should just be how the game is. I don't think they're going to do that, obviously, but since they're not going to do that, this is the next best option for us. But I wouldn't guarantee that it's going to be in the game. It wouldn't surprise me at all if it's not going to be in the game. I just think it would be a huge mistake if they don't, and it's going to really piss everyone off. So I don't know. We'll wait and see, but I really hope it is in the game because I think it saved pubs for like the top like 10% of players. It saved fucking pubs. So they got to put it in, bro. I don't know. That's it. Like, they just have to. So anyways, aside from that, I think the second biggest talking point is probably the maps. So there are 6 total maps in the beta. They are all original maps. We haven't got to play any of the remasters yet. This game is supposed to have 16 maps at launch. So out of those 16, 3 are going to be remasters. So there are going to be 13 new maps. We've played 6 of the 13 new maps. Now the thing is, we don't know if these are the 6 best maps in the game. They could be the 6 worst maps in the game. They could just be 6 mid maps. I don't really know, you know what I mean? I'm gonna be honest, I'm not really too like super impressed or blown away by these maps, but at the same time, I don't think any of them are like completely awful or anything. Like, I would say my least favorite map is probably the snow one, Imprint, where it has like that moving platform. I think that's the worst map, but even that map, like, it's not like terrible, but like I'd rather play the other maps that we have, right? I think Exposure is like a pretty solid, balanced map. That's the one that's like Mars or whatever. I think they probably will use that map for comp. It seems like the most like straight up map for them. I think Forge is okay. I'm not a fan of it, but it's not terrible. I just think it has too many doors. I think they took like 4 or 5 doors away. There was actually even more doors on that map on the first like 2 days of the beta, and then people complained and they took some of the doors away, but I still think that map has too many doors. I like Blackheart. That's like the ship one. It's kind of small, so I don't know. They probably won't ever use that for comp. It's pretty small, but it's kind of a fun map to play. I enjoy that one. I kind of like Cortex as well. I think that one's pretty fun for pubs. Probably won't get used for competitive if I had to guess, but I have a lot of high kill games on that map. I find that map, like, you get in a lot of engagements. I think it's fun to play. And then Toshin, I think, is probably my favorite map. It just came out, you know, so I haven't played it as much as the other ones, but I did play it a decent amount of times, and I have a lot of like really good games on that map, like 100 pluses and stuff, so I think it's a fun map. There is one flaw with the map, because like the top part of the train station, because they even put a hard point up there, but the top part of the train station is like kind of cut off from the rest of the map, and there's really only like one way to get there from each side. So I know people were saying they wanted to like have a way to get there from the middle of the map. I don't know if they're going to make any changes like that, but I will say that map is really fun, at least for pubs. I think it's super enjoyable. I also really like how it looks, like the colors on it, everything are pretty solid. So that's probably my favorite map. But overall, I just don't know if the maps are like too crazy. Like, they're okay. Like, I don't know. I'm not like super impressed. We do at least have the remasters coming in. We're gonna have Raid when the game comes out. We know Raid's gonna be good, so we'll have that at the very least. If out of the remaining, what was it, 13 maps, if we can get like 3 to 5 of those maps to be like good, I think we're probably in a pretty good spot then, right? Because then we'll have like 3 to 5 new maps that are good. We'll have a couple remasters that should be good. Then we'll be in like a pretty good spot map pool wise. So I have hope on the maps. At the very least, we have the remasters, so it's not going to be completely trash. But I'm really hoping they come up with some new original maps that are good as well. So we'll have to wait and see. The next biggest thing to address is probably the weapons. Although I don't know if that's like a big issue. I think the weapons in this game are all like really good, honestly. They've already nerfed the MA and the Dravik, but the thing is they're both still really good. The MA on day one of the beta was insane. Even the Dravik as well, the range on it was insane. I think now the M15 is probably the best gun. It's very good. They're probably going to nerf the M15 as well. It's a little bit OP, but we've only had a chance to use like 7 guns, plus like, the shotguns and snipers or whatever, but like 7 like real guns. We might have not even seen the best gun in the game yet. It's probably going to be in the full game. There's some other like crazy OP gun. I don't really have any complaints about the guns. Like, they're all pretty good, pretty fun to use. Like, the next biggest topic is probably perks. We already have a lot of perks in this beta, including like almost all of the important ones. So I don't know how many perks are going to be in the real game, but we already have like 30 perks in this beta, and the level cap is only level 30. So I don't know how many more perks they're going to be adding. I think the biggest issue with perks right now is that dexterity is like basically a must-have perk. You're at a massive disadvantage not having it whenever you're like engaging in gunfights and even just like moving around. I know people were talking about basically just having dexterity built into the game, so you just move like that and shoot like that in general, and then we can all run something else for the third perk. I've been running Looper on every class since I unlocked it. It is amazing, man. I don't know how I could ever run anything else. Like, you basically you just keep cycling your kill streaks without dying. I think it's like, especially for pubs, it's like a must-have in my opinion. I haven't really been using Tac Sprinter. Honestly, the maps are all like fairly small. I don't think you need Tac Sprint on these maps. Like, I've always been against Tac Sprint. I don't really like it. I don't think it belongs in multiplayer. I think it's a Warzone thing. So I don't know if people are really using Tac Sprinter too much. I don't really think it's necessary, especially for these maps. Maybe if they have some bigger maps in the real game, you might want to use it on those, but for these maps, I don't think you need Tac Sprint. So I think the perks are fine. I just think there maybe needs to be a little bit of rebalancing with them, maybe moving them around a little bit, maybe doing something about the dexterity. I don't know, because I just feel like you have to use dexterity, and you don't want to have a game where like you have to use a perk. Like, it just doesn't, it ruins the balance. Like, it's just kind of annoying. So maybe they could do something about that. But there are definitely a lot of different perk combos to choose from. You get the bonuses and stuff. You could definitely mix it up. I think every single playstyle, however you want to play the game, whatever you want to do, you could probably find the appropriate like perk combo that fits that for you. So finally, let's talk about the kill streaks. The kill streaks in this game are actually pretty good. That's always like an underrated part of Call of Duty, especially for pubs. You gotta have good kill streaks. And we know Swarm is coming, so based on the kill streaks that I've used so far, I'm pretty sure Swarm is gonna be insane. But sometimes we have CODs where even like the top end kill streaks, they only get you like 5 kills, and it's just lame. It kind of feels like a waste to even go for them. In this game, I've been using the hunter killer drones a lot. I don't know why they call them hunter killer drones, because if you remember the hunter killer drone, it was in BO2. It was like a little thing you threw and it flew away, and then like, it landed. Well, actually, the Swarm is hunter killer drones, right? I don't know. Anyways, they're basically wraps from Black Ops 3. I don't know why they call them that in this game, but the wraps are very good in this game. They'll get you a lot of kills. The Gravemaker sniper wall hack thing, I'm sure you guys have seen it before. The thing about that is it looks pretty insane, but like, you're only gonna get like 5 kills with it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not getting you like 20 kills or something crazy. It's not really that OP in respawn. I guess it's like maybe a bit annoying. In S&D, it's actually like pretty OP. They will probably have to make some adjustments to it for S&D. But other than that, I don't think it's too bad. I don't really use the warship because I find that whenever I call in a warship, people just back out. Like, they just don't like that. For whatever reason, I don't know why. Like, if you call in wraps, people don't really care. But if you call it a warship, people just back out. They hate that. So, I don't know. It's whatever. So, I don't really use it too much. I also like the overclock feature. So you can actually overclock your kill streaks, your equipment, your tactical, your lethal. I don't know if you can overclock anything else that I'm forgetting, but it's kind of cool. It's just like a little boost. It's a cool little feature. Like, I run UAV and I overclock it so that it takes less score. Same with counter. I overclock my hunter killer drones to where there's more of them. Like, it just gives you a small little boost to everything. I think I overclocked my nade to do more damage or something. I forgot. I overclocked the cloak ability to where it lasts longer. Like, there's just like very small little boosts that you can overclock. I don't know. I think it's just kind of cool little extra feature that they added. Doesn't really cause any harm, and it kind of gives you a little more customization. I like it. I don't know if people don't like it or not. I thought it was cool. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Like, I don't really have too much else to say. I feel like I touched on everything. I feel like this video is already very long. It doesn't need to be this long. This is just the beta. I will for sure do a way more in-depth review when the real game comes out. But I mean, honestly, I feel like this was pretty in-depth in itself. But anyways, it's still the beta. Let's not get too crazy. Y'all let me know your thoughts on the game. If you haven't played it yet, you still have like a little bit of time to play it. It's free. Just download it, hop on, give it a shot, see what you think. But yeah, that is my Call of Duty Black Ops 7 beta review. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, rating if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're not already, follow me on Twitter, links in the description down below. Check out my last video if you missed it. Other than that, have a good day and peace out.